If you haven't heard about Anchor by Spotify, let me give you a rundown. Basically, it's the easiest way to make a podcast with everything you need, all in one place. Here's how it works. Anchor lets you record and edit podcasts right from your phone or computer. So no matter what your setup is like, you can start creating today. Then you can distribute your podcast to the most popular listening platforms, including Spotify, with a single tap. Anchor is also the only place you can publish video podcasts to Spotify. With Anchor, creators can earn money in a variety of ways, including ads and podcast subscriptions. And best of all, Anchor is totally free. That's right, it won't cost you a dime. Download the Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. You won't regret it. Welcome to Of Men, For Men. Here we'll discuss issues pertaining to the modern day man. Subjects like health, wealth, lifestyle, gear, and relationships. So join me as we dive into the world of men for men. Hello, and welcome to the Of Men, For Men podcast. I am your host, James Rodney Lemax. Yeah, come on. All right. Come on in, kick back, relax. Grab yourself a good one. All right. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for tuning in. I appreciate each and every one of you. All right. Season 3, episode 46. Getting down to the wire. We're going to be closing out the year before too long. We just had a midterm election. Good googly. Man, what happened? What? Everybody talking about a red wave. more, maybe like a red tide, maybe. All right, looks like the right's gonna take over the House, maybe the Senate. We'll have to see. They still counting votes. I don't understand this at all, people. Somebody help me out. Help a brother out. Back in when Lincoln was running, having an election during a civil war, right? They was able to count all the votes. This was back when they was counting votes by candlelight, okay? They was able to count all the votes, paper votes, get them all counted in every state at that time, get them all collected, and they knew what the final vote count was within a week. Back then. This is before computers, before TV, before all the automation. And we have certain states that seem to be repeat offenders. Arizona, Pennsylvania, Georgia, some others. They can't seem to get their shit together, and they don't know how to count votes. It's like you had 2 years, all right? We had a presidential election 2 years ago. You've had 2 years since then to get your shit together. 2 years to prep. Get ready for one day. And they having all kind of malfunctions and malfeasance and discombobulations and everything else. I don't understand that at all. And you got some states like Florida, shit, they got the thing wrapped up by the end of the night. That's the way it ought to be in today's society. There should be no question by the end of the night as to who the winner is, or at least by that following morning. at a minimum. But today, in 2022, they still can't count the votes. Something's wrong with that, people. There's always been, shenanigans going on in elections. I'm sure of it. Since probably day one, the first election, I'm sure there was shenanigans going on. Right? But how much is what the deal is. And who's doing that? But anyway, I hope you all got out there and voted. It's your duty. He said duty. It's your duty as a citizen to vote, right? So I hope you all did that. I hope you all got out there and voted. And if you didn't vote, now, until the next election comes around, you ain't got no right to complain. Shut your pie hole. If you didn't get out there and vote and have your voice heard, then I don't want to hear it after this, right? Because you have people like that. You run into people like that. They're crying all the time. Did you get out and vote? No, it don't matter. Yeah, it does. Yeah, it does. Your vote matters. Your voice needs to be heard. And if you're not willing to take the time, and it don't take no time. I voted early, and it, from start to finish, from leaving the house to getting back to the house, was maybe 30, 40 minutes. The poll was not that far away. Walked right in, got right in line, waited just a few minutes, went to the machine, did my business, took my card, and then put it in a slot where it read it. So you had a paper and an electronic. And then got back in the car, got back home, like I said, 30, 40 minutes tops. The actual voting process was maybe, like I said, walking in, standing in line, getting in there, getting it done, maybe 10 minutes. The rest of it was travel time. It didn't take long to vote. So all this oppression stuff, votes are being, no. And they asked me for ID and I gave it willingly. Yeah, thank you, here you go, here's my ID. Anybody votes in this country should be, should have to present an ID. Otherwise you don't vote. That we live in precarious times, folks, and after all's settled and done, now the dust is settled, and like I said, it looks like the right's going to take hold of the House and perhaps the Senate. At least they may be able to slow down the bleeding. Right? Because right now we got a sucking chest wound. We bleeding out. Maybe they'll be able to at least slow it down some. We'll see. It doesn't look like the president's going to be willing to work with him because he's already made some kind of, statement saying so. Excuse me. It's crazy times we live in. I don't understand why people would vote for people that kept them locked down during COVID. People that would perhaps foster the loss of their jobs because if they didn't take a shot, then they couldn't work. Took their kids out of school and sent them home. And, it's like people are glutton for punishment around here. Like, thank you, Daddy, may I have another? It's good God, people. Freedom. That's what all men want. Freedom. And anybody that'll sacrifice safety for freedom deserves neither. You don't deserve either one. I prefer dangerous freedom over peaceful slavery any day. And that's what this country is trying to get to. They're trying to get to a one-party rule. President calling half of the country extremists and unpatriotic, and if you don't vote for them, then you're not voting for democracy. Well, I'm voting, okay? That is democracy, okay? We don't live in a democracy. We live in a constitutional republic. But if you notice, that's the word they use all the time, democracy. But what they're talking about is democratic socialism. That's what they're really referring to. But they won't say that word. They just keep throwing out democracy. Well, we don't live in a democracy. Democracy is mob rule. That means if the majority wants to come and take your property, they can do it. Whereas a constitutional republic, you have the right to own property and nobody can come take it from you without due cause or due process. They can't just come take it. That's freedom, people. And that's what we all deserve. We deserve freedom. You as a man deserve freedom. You should be free to choose and do what you want and live how you want to live without harming others, without hurting yourself. And I don't know how much longer that's going to last. It's getting worse and worse. It seems like you're not free. You're only as free as they allow you to be. It's getting crazy. It's getting crazy. I don't know how far it's going to go. We got a world war on the edge. China and the Soviet Union acting crazy. Korea's fixing to jump in there because they start to launch rockets and stuff now because the administration that we have right now is weak on foreign policy. Their foreign policy is awful. They're weak. Now, I'm not saying the former administration was great, but he was strong and damn near delivered on all his promises. Did the best he could. He didn't have a whole lot of help from his own party, and that's a pity because he could have got a lot more done. But this current administration seems to be hell bent on breaking this country, breaking it. We fixing to run out of fuel, people. You all go to the grocery store. You go to the gas station. You know what shit costs. It's getting more and more and more. My electricity bill's gone up. My water bill has gone up. I don't use any more electricity. I don't use any more water. I use the same. I'm one person living in a 3-bedroom house. My light bill and water bill is the same all the time. And the only increase I've had is because they've increased the rates. And that's because of fuel. That's not freedom. That's taking money out of my pocket. And when I don't have as much money, I don't have as much freedom. And freedom, money doesn't buy you freedom. Money allows you to have more choices, which gives you more freedom. When you have more options, when you have more choice, you as a man have more freedom. That's all it is. It provides you more opportunity, more choices. And you're not limited by what you can afford and what you can't afford. But we've seen Elon. He's taking his a bit of his fortune, and as I spoke in the last episode, he has bought the Twitter. And he's doing his best to, make it what it should have been the entire time. And now both sides is mad at him. It's crazy. But that's probably good. That's probably good. Because if one side was all hooray and the other side was all hell no, then you probably know he was probably going in the wrong direction. But he's got both sides upset. So I'm like, okay, go Elon, go. I mean, I'm not the hugest Elon fan, but I do appreciate what he's doing. I don't know that much about the man, obviously. But what I see, I do like. I'm sure there's some things about him that I wouldn't like. But that's neither here nor there. I just like what I see, and that's fine. Right? I got a lot of people starting to follow, and a little bit more interaction, and you can see it's loosened up a little bit. But he's banned some people. He's had, people have tried to impersonate him because he wanted, everybody with a blue check mark to pay $8 a month. I'm like, okay, kind of a subscription-based thing, but they don't like that because, that check was a prestigious thing, they were verified, bona fide, certified. Now anybody can buy an effing check if they just pay the $8. I don't think I'm going to. I haven't had it all these years, and what's the point now? Y'all know who I am, right? You can find me Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Gab, Locals, and on the Twitters. I am who I am. I introduce myself in every episode. I've had people on Twitter where you're hiding behind, this, that, and the other. I ain't hiding behind anything. Obviously, they didn't listen to the podcast, right? They didn't hear me introduce myself. I'm not hiding. I have people that have followed the podcast who have, followed me on Instagram or on Facebook. My personal account, and that's fine, great. I don't mind the personal connection. As long as it's beneficial. As long as there's nothing nefarious going on. But it's funny. It's funny. Now they're all pissed off at him. And they're even the president's like, that he was asked the question, should he be investigated? Is he a security threat? Well, that's something we'll have to look into, possibly, blah, blah. Like, the man has a clearance, he's tied into the military-industrial complex already. He's launching rockets and launching satellites and this, that, and the other. He has a clearance. They're just pissed at him because he, took over Twitter, and now people are free to say what they want to say. The people that are in charge right now don't like freedom of speech. They don't want you to be able to speak. They don't want you to have freedom. They don't want you to have freedom of speech or freedom of choice. You need to go along with their agenda, or there's something wrong with you. That's what the problem is. And that's what we're fighting, folks. Men, women, that's what we're fighting. That's why they went after Trump so hard, because he broke the system and he exposed them all for who they were. And I've said it before, I've said it again. If they had an unpaid parking ticket from 1972, they would have already had that man in jail. But they don't have anything. They just keep dragging him into court, trying to, reaching and grasping and groping for something, and they don't have jack doodly squat, And how many people around him have they done the same thing to try to get them to turn on him for some reason? You think if they had something to turn on, they would have by now, but none of them. That's a government that's out of hand. And it's getting out of hand. And we deserve freedom. You as a man deserve freedom. And if you're not willing to fight for it, you're going to, what they say, you stand for something, or, or fall for anything, right? We have hard choices to make here in the future, and I'm not telling you, what side to take. I'm just giving you my personal opinion and my views, and I don't expect or demand that you agree. I'm okay with disagreement, but let's have a disagreement. Let's have a conversation. Let's debate the facts and the ideas. And if you have a better idea, I'm open. I'm open to that. But But that doesn't seem what they want to have. They want to shut down the conversation. Back to the FU podcast. It's FU. They don't want to have a conversation. They just want to shut you down. And that's where we're running wrong. Your options are being limited. But there's a growing counterculture, with alt tech. That's why I'm on those alternate platforms. I may start to put some stuff up on Rumble. I don't know. I have enough platforms to deal with already. I'm trying to keep everything free. I don't want to put anything behind paywalls. I want you to have access to it, from now to eternity for nothing. I'm not looking to gain fame or money out of any of this. I'm just trying to open people's eyes, and again, whether you agree or disagree, that's fine. I've helped in some way, shape, fashion, or form help you come to a conclusion, and that's all I'm asking. I'm just asking you to be open and to hear. That's all. I don't ask you to conform to my ideas or anything like that. I just throw this stuff out there, and if it sticks, fantastic. If not, that's all right. You've done what was best for you. Not what's best for me. What's best for you. That's what I want you to do. That's what I always want you to do, man. Be all you can be, right? Just like the Army. Be all you can be, son. You got to do what's right for you. And sometimes those choices are hard. I understand that. It's tough. It's tough. Everybody thinks, being a man ain't always cracked up to be, gentlemen, right? It's hard. There's a lot of weight there. There's a lot of pressure. That's why we die younger. Stress, strain, physical work. We abuse our bodies with, drugs and alcohol. Some of it prescription. I'm not talking about illicit drugs necessarily, but that too. And now you got to be careful of the fentanyl. You might be taking a pill. Don't buy pills off the street, gentlemen. You might be thinking you're getting one thing and you're getting something totally different. They're talking about 40% of all the pills out there are laced with fentanyl. That's not good. If you don't get it from a pharmacy, I wouldn't take it. That's what killed one of my ex-wives. She was addicted to pills and struggled with that. She did an accident, got hurt, and I don't judge her or blame her or anything like that, but I know that's probably what took her life. She took something, thought it was one thing, and it was laced with fentanyl, and it killed her. And that's terrible. That's a terrible thing. I always tried to, even though we weren't together anymore, I always tried to encourage her and uplift her because I wanted to see her, live, a good life. Regardless of what happened between her and me, because, I have a child with her. But you got to be careful these days, gentlemen, no matter what you do. Think about what you're doing before you do it. This isn't really a hard podcast on any one subject. I kind of covered a lot of different things. But the ultimate thing is, man, do what's best for you, do what's right for you, and be a man about it. Be responsible. Own up to your own shit, okay? Alright, my friends. I appreciate each and every one of you tuning in and listening to me for a few minutes. Maybe getting a refresh or a reboot. Right? Maybe hearing a different spin on a topic you probably heard enough about. I'm hoping all these damn political commercials are over. Those are about to drive me crazy. I don't know about y'all. Oh, Lord. But, yeah, if you'd like to see or hear more, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, again, Gab, Locals, alright? I'll let you know if I start doing anything with Rumble. I know everybody's everywhere. So I try to have, multiple points of access, right? If you'd like to support this podcast, you can do so on the app you're at right now with the support button. And as little or as much as you'd like to donate would be fantastic and much appreciated. Have a good day. I have been James Rodney Lee Max, and you have been great. Yeah. Hey, all right. This will be a weekly podcast. You can find it on the Anchor app and anywhere podcasts are available. We're also on Facebook and Instagram. I look forward to seeing you there.